Well, it's my pleasure to, maybe for the fourth, fifth, sixth time, I don't know, be sitting down with Coach Joe Kennedy. Coach, thanks for taking some time here at CPAC to talk.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime the Daily Signal's around, I'm here with you guys.
Well, we appreciate that. It has been such a joy over the last, I don't even know how many years to follow your story. I guess almost like a decade
Almost a
now?
decade. That makes us sound old.
That does make us sound old.
Yeah.
We shouldn't bring this up. But you, of course, ended up taking a case on prayer all the way to the Supreme Court after you were released from your job as a high school football coach in Washington State because you wanted to take a knee in silent prayer after football games. They told you, no, you can't do that. Ended up that case rising all the way to the Supreme Court where you had a victory, and really, I would say a victory for the whole country on prayer. Let's start there. Let's start with kind of talking about the significance of your court victory and how that has shifted and changed things for Americans across the country to be reminded and to know that legally prayer can take place in public schools.
Yeah, isn't that the most amazing thing? I mean, we talked about this years and years ago. This is not a big deal. This is a 15-second prayer. People in America should be able to pray and be who they are in public, especially in the generation of DEI and all these other acronyms you have. This is a time where we should be able to exercise our freedoms in America. The First Amendment, free speech, freedom of religion, all of these things that we have kind of been stifled. And who knew that this was going to be the landmark case that freed up, there's that old case, Lemon versus Kurtzman, which nobody knows about. But that's what stifled everything as far as religious freedom for the past 50 years. And we've been programmed that 50 years of just being under this guise of you can't mix church and state. And that's where we hear a lot of this. But that just blew the doors off of that. The Supreme Court really ruled greatly on it and cleared that up. And now we see it all across the South and moving our way up north is 10 Commandments back into our schools, into our city halls, courtrooms. All of this is just because of that simple case and over a 15-second prayer. So one average person stood up for what was right, and it's amazing what God could do.
Wow. Well, and since winning that case, you've had a book come out telling your story, a movie, Average Joe, telling your story. What are you up to now that you returned to the field, obviously, after you won that case?
You were there for
I
that?
was there.
Yes.
I was very honored to be there and to watch you after that victory, take that knee in silent prayer after the game. But then you said, you know what, I'm going to retire. I think your words were, that whole experience put a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, they took the fun out of coaching, and there was a lot of hurt feelings over there. And I thought it was just better to let the football program go move on. And, my father-in-law, we're taking care of him in Pensacola, Florida. So timing was right for everybody. And to go out on my own terms was great. Now I get to go around the country, promote the book, promote the movie Average Joe. It's streaming now. It only stays in theaters for 5 seconds and then it's out. But I love getting feedback on it, and people get to hear the whole entire story. And they were like, I had no idea. Because you hear the headlines always, praying coach, this and that, but you never really hear the story behind it. And that's what we wanted to show, that being a Christian, being an American, takes hard work, and that God can use the least of us to do some incredible things. So and it touches everything from, I wasn't aborted, thank God, and put up for adoption, from unwanted pregnancy, all the way through our public school system, how broken it is, all the way through marriage, how tough that is, and really just shows every aspect of life, and that it is a battle, it is a fight, and that we do make a difference. And I want to inspire others to be able to stand up and just take a stand for who they are and what they believe in. And
you're doing that now through various speaking engagements. Speak a little bit about the work that you're doing now.
Yeah, so I signed up with Coastal Ridge Ministries, Patriot Mobile, my go-to guys, and really just being able to have more platforms that I get to come to CPAC and NRB next week. You get to come to these events and to get to share the story of not just my story, but God's story, and share the excitement for the Constitution. And it's great to see people where we have this ray of sunshine. There's this hope in our country, and I feel the energy and the excitement, and I get to be part of that. And I like to know that, that God had me in a little part of the sliver of that, and I get to share that with other people around the country. And really, and my wife and I, we go around doing marriage conferences and stuff, and they were like, I can't believe that she went through everything. So yeah, it's just awesome to see what God's doing in her lives.
It is really awesome. Well, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie Average Joe, check it out, because I think the movie did such a good job of telling your story, but also really telling Denise's story.
Yes.
Like you say, that this wasn't easy. Denise worked at the school where you were fired from, and she was the head of HR. It was like, what is going on?
Right.
How do we navigate this?
Yeah, everybody's heard my story, but and that was a great thing about God, is that He kept her in the background and protected her from all of that, big public space. But now it's all out there, and they're like, wow, she really has a great testimony. And she does. Hers is 10 times better than mine because everything she's been through. So it is so good that she's able to tell her story, and to see the power of a praying wife and the empowerment of women that might not be in the headlines, but absolutely should be in the headlines.
Yeah, so powerful. Coach, thank you, as always, for your time and your willingness to keep sharing your story.
Absolutely. It's great seeing you, and we'll talk again like this all the way throughout our years.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Subscribe to get the news the legacy media won't tell you and only the Daily Signal can bring to you.